growing up in Virginia, I'm sure you could appreciate the uniqueness of somebody like Dontrez Styles and playing for Carolina, going away to Georgetown and coming back to play for NC State. And when this is further down the line, is that going to be maybe a challenge from a coaching standpoint, not get his emotions too wrapped up into those particular games when they come up?
Well, we don't play Georgetown, so
Carolina.
he transferred from Georgetown, so he's one school removed, so he shouldn't be emotional when we play at Carolina or Carolina. No, it's these guys are competitors, and no matter how much as coaches we downplay opportunities and playing guys who are locally, they understand that and they play. And I would be lying to you if I told you that emotions will not be involved. That's a great question to ask Dontrez, but I would imagine he'd have some type of emotion.
Coach Keatts, to follow up on that, as someone who recruited him in high school and actually saw him play against Quavion Smith during his time at Kinston High, just how have you seen his basketball career grow now that he's gotten on campus at NC State?
I think he's grown in a lot of ways. He is starting to shoot the ball better than he ever did. Coming out of high school, for you guys who followed Dontrez, a really good player, but he was more athlete than he was skill. And now I think his skill level is pretty good. He had a great year from stats at Georgetown, and we hopefully that we can, obviously put that into our system. He's unique because we can play him at some, power forward and also a small forward position. But I think the biggest thing he's grown from is his ability to score the basketball and shoot it behind the three-point line.
Have you seen Michael grow from the end of the year last year coming into this year, kind of taking that he had that rhythm in those 9?
Yeah, for all of you guys who wrote, man, this guy wasn't good enough point guard. And I know y'all did too, just so y'all know. I ain't calling a couple people out in there because that's not what this is about. But what a great, listen to me, what a great postseason. The guy who couldn't shoot that everybody said was slow and couldn't shoot, he had now. And just so you know, he went from whatever he shot at Stanford, I think 20% to 37% from behind the three-point line. Of course he's building. I mean, the guy's playing at a high level. He's a really good basketball player. He's a tremendous person. And so his leadership has been really, really good. When we became a better team is when Michael found his voice. He wasn't a big talker. And, one time I turned around in the locker room doing a run and I heard somebody talking and he was encouraging, getting after people. And I looked around and was like, hold on, is that Michael? And so I think what he's done now, he's got a lot of confidence, and he should. I mean, his run was incredible, and it started when DJ Horn could not play against Louisville, and all of a sudden we went from a guy who scored 6 points a game to now he's 14 or 15. Great program, man. Coaches do a good job of developing guys.
Kevin, with Dontrez, Brandon, and all the new guys who you brought in, just when you were going into the portal, what were you hoping to come out of it with? And when you were talking to some of these guys, both of you did get maybe something you ended up not having. What was the perception of NC State? Could you tell there was a difference in previous offseasons?
Well, I think it's a difference. I mean, we've done well in the portal. We've done well in the portal. We've done well before you could sit out. We go back to Devin Daniels and Cedric Rice. We go back to Al Freeman. We've done well. So we have a lot to sell when it talks about transfers. Those guys who have come into our program have impacted our program and helped us win. The run helps, being able to say, hey, this is what we did last year. Look what DJ Horn did. DJ Horn had an incredible year. Here's what DJ Burns did, Casey Morsell. The last seven dudes that really played for us at the end, they all started their careers at another school. So we had a lot to sell as far as coming into a program being ready to play.
Is there any added pressure to get back to that kind of environment next year?
What do you mean?
Just get back to like tournament and have success in March.
I don't think it's because we went to the tournament there's pressure, but we want to do it every year. We want to have that opportunity. I remind everyone, it is so tough in this league with the amount of teams that they're putting in the tournament. The last couple of years we've had 5. It's only been 3 teams that's been the back-to-back NCAA tournaments, and we just happen to be one. And so it's really hard. I know sometimes as fans, and I know as you guys cover, when you're writing I want you to think about this now, when you're killing that coach because he's not making the tournament. Just think about the percentages of it. I mean, it's 5 teams the last couple of years, and we've done it twice. And it's some great programs that, have been around for a long time that hadn't been to back-to-back tournaments in this league. And so it's not fair because, the ACC, we're going to 18 teams, we've had 15. That being said, we typically, we should be getting 9, 10 teams in. When you get 5, it's hard. It's really hard, and I'm proud of the fact that, we've been back-to-back, and obviously we want another opportunity to go to back-to-back tournaments and have a chance at.
You raised
Do
it.
you anticipate being able to play faster with this group? I mean, what do you see when you look at the lineup versatility?
I do. This team is probably faster than last year's team, but we ran a lot last year too. And here's what was unique about this team, and this is what made DJ Burns such a special player, is we ran when he didn't. And when we didn't get an early basket, that's what he did. We threw the ball inside to him, or we threw it to the top of the key, and he was such a great passer that he made some amazing things. I think we'll get a few more transition baskets from our posts, but that's not to take away from DJ Burns, because he was smart enough to understand who he was, and we played fast, and then when we needed to go through him, it became him and Michael as the point guards.
You raised a good.
DJ Burns in Korea. How do you
Yeah.
think that's gonna go?
Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
You gotta get Chip. You gotta get on social media. He's got a video off. He got a video already.
Did you put it in?
No, I retweeted. I made a like it, but yeah, hey,
He's getting his chance.
no, he's getting his chance, and what a great personality. Like I don't think you guys understand getting a chance to cover a guy who is that unique, who's a really good basketball player. But he was very grateful for every interview that he had with you guys. And I don't know that I'll ever coach a guy with a personality that big. I mean, he's a big teddy bear, and you think about his impact off the court. He's the first guy when he leaves and he goes upstairs and leaves the arena. He's out there taking pictures with fans, and he's involved in everything else. And so I'm so happy to see him perform at the highest level. Unfortunately, I wish he was in the NBA. The difference is the NBA doesn't play with that type of center now like they used to. But he's going to make a lot of money, and he's going to be very successful in whatever he does.
You also mentioned during the NCAA tournament last year, you mentioned a couple of times that you didn't feel like the team was getting the respect it deserved. You feel like when all was said and done, and you get to the Final Four, what you did, winning the championship and everything else, that you finally earned that degree?
No, we didn't. We went to the Final Four, and the Final Four we were number 10. Some people do pretty good math. How does it work? No, and that's part of it. Whether we get it or not, it's our job as a coach and player that we got to go out and earn it. I mean, every year is different, and you know what? We can't live on the memory of last year's team, nor can Purdue, nor can UConn, nor can Alabama. We've got to go out there and we've got to create our own opportunities with this group.
Coach, speaking on the memory of last year, when you look at the roster turnaround to this year, how do you improve?
Meaning player-wise?
How does the team improve, and how do you build on that?
Yeah, so we have to figure out a couple things. I mean, we had 2 unique guys. The DJs were really good. And I say that from an offensive standpoint, DJ Horn could break off a play and just go score. So his impact was really good. DJ Burns was, we talked about that enough, how unique he was, and a great passer. Mo was a tremendous rebounder. And then Casey Marcel did a little bit of everything. Didn't shoot it as well as he did in the previous year, but defensively he was really good and he showed leadership. We lost those 4 seniors and who were really good. And then we got some older guys that have to step up. We didn't know during preseason that DJ Horn was going to be as good as he played. We knew he was going to be a good player, but he stepped up, and he had a stretch during the season, during the regular season, when he was just really, really, really good. And so we're looking for that type of player, whether it's going to be Marcus, whether it's going to be JT, whether it's going to be one of the younger guys. We're looking for guys to fill those roles, but they're not trying to do it the same way that those guys did it. I told you, nobody's gonna play like Mo. When Mo realized that, you know what, his bread and butter was going in there, rebounding the basketball, we became a really good basketball team. You know, he would make occasional three, he would rebound the ball. Casey, who didn't shoot it well, but decided, hey, I'm not shooting it well, but I'm gonna become a great defensive player. The player that I've always jabbed at him about being one of the better defensive players. And so these guys now, we have to find our own identity through this group.
You raised a good point during the offseason that when people talk about top returning players in the ACC, they kind of forget about Mike and Brandon.
Yeah.
You know, and then Marcus would have been probably a top 5 player in the MAC. You know, I guess, do you think the transition will be easier because they've had past success?
Yeah, I think because Louisville didn't have a great year, you know, record-wise, I think those guys have a little bit forgotten, and I hope they understand that. You know, but I with Mike James and Brandon, I think they both have a chance to be really good basketball players here. And you know, I've touched on Brandon, but Mike James, and he has 2 years to play. I mean, he's a big, strong wing that can shoot the basketball, he can drive the basketball. I think he has a chance to be good. And Marcus comes in as our highest returning scorer in college at 20 points a game. Yeah, he did it at the mid-major level, but he's really good. He's a paint touch guy who can, you know, play both positions. And so I think both of those guys can really have a big impact on our program. But I'm expecting, you know, I want all of our transfers to play older. I want them to be transfers. I want them, even though they played at different universities, I want their experience to be brought into NC State.
Kevin, you mentioned the newcomers and bringing them up to speed. What have you seen specifically from the guys who did make that run last year, Ben, JT, and all those other guys that were here?
Yeah, I think I said this earlier, man. There's not another player in the country that's having as much fun as Ben. I mean, some of you guys probably seen him downtown a little bit. Don't tell me because I don't want to know that. But that man is having a great time now. Just so you know that he's a. But they play with swag. They play with a sense of urgency. They're out front showing people, you know, what we do and how we do it and the culture that we built. And it's been great. You know, I've been in an era where you don't have many transfers or in an era where you don't have many returners. You know, you want to have at least the small amount of returners that you have be leaders, and they all have showed some leadership doing this.
Kevin, is there a secret sauce for a transfer? Not like from like you bringing the team chemistry together, but like as an individual before they get here that you look for?
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you that. Hey, I told you now, we've been good with transfers now. A lot of people can make, you know, a lot of people can say how good their transfer has been, but our transfers have been really good, and I'm not giving up what I look for in a transfer. You know, I will say this, I think it's important to find guys that fit the way you want to play. You know, I will say that. I think so many people make some mistakes in taking some guys that don't fit. Now, you guys will argue with me that DJ Burns didn't fit the way I wanted to play, and I'm going to argue with you and say, yeah, he did. I wanted to throw the ball inside a little bit more, that's all. So, but I'll take one more and then get out of here and my other one. Yes.
You mentioned the former players. When you went on that 9-game streak, obviously they've always been invested. But you said you saw tears, just describe that, and then were you kind of taken aback by how much they care about this?
No, our former players are great. I mean, they really are, and they were involved in the game. A lot of them could not make the game. I mean, they were watching, they were yelling, they were, you know, even though I may not have talked to all, I talked to some of them, they were talking to our players. You got the connection with Levi, you know, being as a former player, so they were excited. And when we won the ACC after 37 years, man, it was great because it wasn't just about just us. It was about everybody who's ever wore their uniform, making them proud, but also giving them a little bragging rights because the way we did it was unique. I mean, we did it, it couldn't have been scripted any better. The teams that we played and how we won and who we beat and everything else, I thought it was great. But I'm happy for our former players because when you win a championship here at NC State for the basketball program, it's not just for the basketball program, it's for our entire school. It's for our entire alumni base. it's for our entire fans. It means something. And this was one, and what makes it special is that no one saw it coming. And it means so much to everybody else. Now, you won't believe this, but our players and us, we talked about it. We talked about it going into DC that we were gonna do it. And we talked about it after Louisville, we talked about it after Syracuse, we talked about it, after the regulation, we talked about it at Duke, we talked about it after regulation at Virginia too. He's like, all right, we got a chance now because we hit that big shot. But it's, I want you guys to, some people go through and they cover teams and they may not ever win a championship. And so if this is your first time winning the championship by covering NC State basketball, then this is for you too also.